All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm so pleased today to be joined by the very accomplished Batista Grimont. Batista is an international body designer, #1 best-selling author of Feminine Body Design, Empowering Fitness for a Pain-Free Life. She's the co-creator of Feminine Body Design online strength training mentoring system, co-host of the Esoteric Principles of Bodybuilding, and producer of the Dr. Fitness USA show. A former international professional performer in ballet and Spanish dance, her longtime passion in dance, quantum physics, and metaphysical science aligns in the body design formula to help busy women over 40 to achieve greater integration of body, mind, and spirit. Batista, I'm so happy you were able to carve out some time. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you. I'm super excited to be here and share a little bit of my life experience with your listeners, and I'm honored. Thank you.
It's absolutely my pleasure. Could you share with us a little bit about your own journey? I know from my own experience and friends of mine who performed as dancers, it's an incredibly demanding profession.
Yes, I started dancing when I was 3 years old. That's all I ever wanted to do, and so I started with ballet. My mother was a ballet dancer. My father was a mime. So that's all I knew growing up. My first stage appearance was as a toddler, basically. And it does have, it's very hard on the body. People say, oh, it's great. It's so, from the outside, it looks so glamorous, but behind the scene, day in, day out, it's a lot of work. I mean, it's like boot camp. I grew up, especially in the ballet world. It's really the no pain, no gain. It's about the show must go on, and you just don't stop because you have a pain somewhere or whatnot. And actually, I had to make a career transition in my mid 20s from ballet to flamenco because I did break my foot early on when I was 20 years old. And then I couldn't go on point shoes anymore. So I had to change to flamenco dancing. And I loved flamenco dancing. Anyways, I fell in love with flamenco dancing when I was a teenager. So it was a natural transition. But it's a really hard life. I had a car accident at the same time when I broke my foot, and so the injuries never really healed properly. So even though I had tried to do just about everything to heal, all the modalities, the chiropractor, acupuncture, massages, and then all the unconventional modalities like hands-on healing, Reiki, whatever you name it. I had really tried everything to heal my injuries, but I was not getting better. And then, of course, age starts setting in a little bit, and the hormones change. And by the time I reached my mid 40s, I was seriously injured. And so that was my life. It was like a double life. It was about the glamour and of being a dancer, being on stage, and then behind the scene, just having a lot of pain. Not that glamorous, actually. So that was my life.
So you worked through pain for quite a while, longer, almost for 2 decades further beyond your initial injuries and accident.
Oh yes, 30 years. Yeah. Uh
And you
huh.
tried all of these other modalities and people who would work on you. What flipped the switch or the light bulb that showed you the difference, that showed you the healing that you could experience through exercise and movement, through the right type of exercise?
Okay, so that's an excellent question. Thank you for asking the question. I was very much into spirituality, metaphysics. When I wasn't at the doctor or dancing, that's what I was doing. And one day I had a moment of clarity. It's like an awakening, like you wake up from a dream. And I looked around the room. I was in a meditation class, and the topic of the discussion was body mind spirit integration. And I looked around the room and I looked at myself from a different perspective. And I said, body, mind, spirit, that sounds great, but where is the body in this equation? Because my body was in pain, it was on the way out. And I said, something is missing, because with all these things that I'm doing, I'm not getting better. And then I looked around the room and I saw a lot of suffering. I saw that I wasn't the only one. Okay. I saw some people very out of shape, some people very overweight, very underweight, some people very lacking. It was just not at the level at all. And I prayed. I said, I need to find the answer to to the body part of that trio. And I organized a whole meditation goal set goal as goal. How do you say that? Goal making event
Intention. Okay. Yeah.
intention, meditation. I invited all my friends. We lit candles, we prayed, we did mock-up boards, we did everything that I had ever learned about the topic, and for everybody with collective consciousness, that we would find an answer to the body. So the next day I met Dr. Fitness USA. The very next day.
The
Okay.
universe said the student is ready, the teacher shall appear.
Exactly, exactly. And sometimes you pray for something and you kind of expect something to come in a form, and this wasn't it for me. Okay. It didn't I didn't expect that. I was still a full-time dancer performer. I was at a restaurant waiting for the owner. I was going to put a show in that restaurant, and so I was waiting, sitting at the table there. And then this man walks in for lunch, and I kind of looked at him. I said, well, he's kind of handsome. And so we made eye contact, and he walks by my table and he says, well, who are you? And I said, well, I'm Batista. And I said, well, who are you? And he said, well, I'm an international body designer. And yeah, and I had never heard that term. I didn't know what it was, but it sounded body designer, international, whatever, sounded good. And I had just come from that mindset of creating those intentions for the body, right? The body, mind, spirit. And I said, that's what I need. So yeah, it was like it was a sign. And so we had a conversation, and an hour later, after my meeting with the restaurant owner, I went to his office, and the conversation was very bizarre. I had been 45 years in the fitness dance movement industry, really, when you think about it, and I knew a lot. But everything that he was telling me was like Chinese. I quite did not understand, like the concept of lifting weight, lifting heavy weight, but never doing anything that's uncomfortable. These two didn't fit in the same sentence. I didn't get it. He was saying, yeah, as a woman, you have to stop giving, you have to learn to receive. And then it's just bizarre. But I had prayed and I was desperate, even though I did not understand the concepts that he was presenting me with. I decided, when you pray for something, even if it doesn't come in the shape and form that you expect, then you better take the leap, you know? So I hired him. And I jumped in. I went into the gym. I started the weightlifting, and within 2 weeks, I think maybe less than 2 weeks, my backache was gone,
Hmm.
and it never returned. It's been 11 years. And then my other injuries started to heal. I had a frozen shoulder. I could barely move my arm. That healed. And my knees, my Achilles, everything healed in a very, very short time, very, very rapidly. And so I married him. And that was the beginning of my this new journey, this transformational time for me, where I really started to put all the dots together, or connecting the dots for me personally on that topic of body, mind, spirit integration, but also really a whole new journey within myself and my relationship with myself and my body, and then teaching it to other people. So many people are in pain and have no answers. And so I've done a lot of research on the topic because I did not understand. I was thinking, why, if I work with a personal trainer over here, I'm still in pain, and now I go to the gym and I do similar exercises, but now I'm pain free. So I became a personal trainer, and I've done a lot of research. I wrote a couple of books. This one is very dear to my heart. Is the Feminine Body Design, Empowering Fitness for a Pain-Free Life. This dispels the myth that I had about fitness, and that I find many women also have. So that's what happened.
An inspired partnership was born.
Yes, a life transforming partnership. I not only got my body back, my strength, but I got a husband too.
I love it. The
And a new
universe certainly
career,
lined it all up. And a new
and a new
career.
career, and a new career because I mean, I loved dancing, but when you start at 3 years old and now you're turning 50, and you know, I was happy to be making a career transition. But who makes a career transition at 50? It's not that easy, and it wasn't easy. I don't say that it was easy, okay, but I'm a person who loves learning. I'm always looking to learn and to grow as a person, and so it's been an amazing journey.
And to think it started with someone who gave you permission to break out of that no pain, no gain paradigm that so many of us are trained, be it sports or dance or just getting ahead in life. You know, we're
Yes,
taught no pain, no gain. We're taught to just power through, and we stop picking up signals and listening to what our body is trying to tell us.
absolutely. Yeah. And there's a fine line, okay? Because when you are an athlete, you kind of have to show up for the job, right?
Right?
But there is a fine line on showing up for the job, and also making sure to take the time to rest, to heal, to nurture. And so I find that in my life I didn't have that balance. You know, it was all about doing, giving, performing, and there was not very much time for me, actually. And even though I was going to doctors and I was doing the massages and I was doing all the things,
Mm-hmm.
it was
Mm-hmm.
still in the doing mode, you know. Yeah.
Right. It can be very hard to create that space so that you can connect with what really works for
Mm-hmm.
you, especially when everything else is so commonly accepted as the way to fix things.
Yes, exactly. So absolutely, and this is one of the things that the program actually teaches, is because it is weightlifting, and we do lift considerable amount of weight, not for every body part, certain body parts which require more weight, but we always make sure that the body is grounded and safe, feeling secure, and that the movements are done in a very biomechanically proper form. So it feels good. So when you actually do the weight, you go past your self-imposed limitations because you do things that you never thought would be possible. But it gives you that internal connection, that brain muscle connections, that allows you to kind of get really centered and grounded within your own body. It's a very different feeling than anything that I have experienced in any other exercise modality. Very different.
Which
I
is
like press,
powerful.
yeah, I like press 650 pounds. That's what we're talking about. I'm not saying that everybody has to do this. I love it, and I do it smiling. And because we have an ergonomic support, a pad that we put behind the back so that the spine gets realigned, so
Mm,
everything goes into place. So you just don't do 650 pounds, right? But but it creates such an incredible amount of endorphins to the brain and a sense
yes.
of inner power. It's hard to explain.
Yes, it must be incredible to move beyond the previous restrictions that you had after injury and pain, and then just blow past your wildest, you know, imaginings to leg press 650 pounds after, struggling to continue your dance career for decades. It's just a complete transformation. And it's so empowering to when we get to exceed our own expectations. So with the right support, to help us safely, and that grounding is such a really important aspect of it too. And I'm sure wasn't really foremost in your ballet training or other dance.
No, you don't talk about this, you don't think about it, you just have to just, it's always about doing more, reaching new heights. If your legs goes this high today, tomorrow you want it over here. You want to do 3 turns today, tomorrow you want to do 4. You're always pushing, pushing, pushing. And also in dancing, and it's part of the job, right? So you, whatever, and I love to dance, so that was that. But it's not a very natural way of moving. It's not like biomechanically, it's just not that. Okay, you're
Right.
always turning out, pushing the body, and yoga is a little bit like that also, unless you're born into it. And but the body doesn't move naturally like that. So you're always pushing beyond the body's natural way of being. And the life expectancy of a dancer is actually 40 years old. At 40, most dancers retire because of injuries, and sometimes even earlier. So that should
Right.
actually tell you something about the profession, but you love it or you don't. But it's not how you're going to be pain free.
Right.
It's just not the way to go.
And
Yeah.
so, as you're working with your clients, do you find you have to help them unlearn things from their previous exercise experience? What are some common habits that we have picked up that don't serve us?
Yeah, so absolutely. Because actually, our best clients are those who don't have much of a background in, especially not in weightlifting, because when they have a background, they have their habits, and habits are sometimes hard to break because we do things in a way that may look similar than what other people are doing, but yet there are some differences that, even if they're very small differences, that will make all the difference. Okay, like for example, where the feet are placed. Okay, like if we take an example of a leg press, for example, you go to a gym, you have the leg press, a lot of people do it. Most people are going to put their feet in the middle of the board. It's kind of an instinctive way to do it. But when you do this, you put the pressure on the knees. When we do it, we put the feet at the bottom of the board so the hips are grounded, and then you push through, so little differences like that. So people have habits that they are just doing things, and then to unlearn the habits, it takes a lot of concentration because you always go back to the habit, you know and one of the things that is the most difficult, I think, to overcome is posture. Because I don't know how many percentage, but we'll say 90%, a lot of people now suffer from that posture. One of the main, most prominent postural misalignment condition is forward head posture, when the head is,
Mhm.
moving forward, and that's because of our lifestyle, computer, uh, phones, right? We're like this. So this is something that is very common, and younger and younger people are getting it now. It used to be that you get older, you get bad posture, but now even the young kids have it. And so what happens is now they go to work out, and now they are going to work out in the position they're in. So if they're like this, now they go and they work out and they're going to do everything like this. So what they're doing is they're compounding the problem, adding muscle on a, a body part that is already in the wrong position, that's opposite to good health. And this is very difficult to overcome. So when we work with people, all the exercise, everything we do is geared towards opening the chest and working on posture and developing muscles in the back that holds the shoulder back, so that then you don't have to think about it. But even though we gear every exercise to do that, people still have a tendency to fall back into what's comfortable for them, you know. So that's when a good mentoring program comes into play, because if you're doing it on your own, it's very hard to catch it, to realize that you're doing it. It's like a blind spot, right? So that's the value of getting a mentor, working with a mentor that can really help you to get past those problems.
Yes, and that outside perspective to help call you out every time you fall back into those unhealthy
Yes.
patterns or habits.
Yes.
I say the same thing, and I've seen it in a lot of the clients, especially when I was doing body work. We've been issued this box, this computer in front of us, our mobile device, everything, and we have to break out of that box. So I love just how clearly you described it. It's about strengthening the muscles on the back because they've all become stretched and unused. And that's where trigger points come from. And then everything else opposite those gets shortened. So you have to physically work on opening those muscles back up at the same time. So it takes that comprehensive program.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
how are you working with people? We talked briefly before about the shift that you've had to make. You started working online before the pandemic, and
Mm-hmm.
now you're doing more remote work. So you're still able to do this very close mentoring, even for people who aren't in your immediate area.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was my vision when I met Stephen, and I had this amazing recovery from all my injuries. It was one on one. It was in the gym. It was very customized. The investment was quite high, and I had a vision to deliver, to reach more people than just a one on one. So that's what I did for 8 years. It was a lot of work because Stephen is intuitive. The knowledge was all in his head, and he never imagined that it could be done online, or he's like the artist, right, the sculpture, you know
Mhm.
and so it was a lot of work. But through my research, and I became a personal trainer, and then I started teaching the program, and then comparing notes to what he would do and what I would do. And so through a long process, I was able to actually put the program into formulas that are online now. So now we've gone online about 3-4 years ago, and we did some beta testing. We tried it to see if it would work. We didn't know, right? Because how can you do it? After all, if you want to learn to swim, you need a swimming pool, right? But because it's a formula, it's a specific sequence of exercise that's done in a specific way. And then there is what we call the proprietary weight ratio system, exactly how many sets, how many reps you're doing, how you manipulate that. And so it's a system. Uh, and the power and the results come from doing the system. Okay. And so because of that, it works. But we also have a very one-on-one connection with people as well. Okay. We do Zoom calls. We have a whole gallery of specialized videos that we've produced over the years that show exactly how to do the movement. So the people not only now have access to our app when they work with us, where they get the videos and the programs through their app, so they have access to it through their phone. Like if they go to a gym or whatever, they can follow this through the app. But then we also do Zoom calls when we actually are face to face with the people. And if we see that there is a problem, for example, we see that they're not doing an exercise or that they're not increasing their strength in a certain way, then we know there is a problem. Maybe they're not doing the exercise properly, so we can work one on one with them through Zoom. And of course, now since the pandemic, we started also doing programs that people can do at home. And so now we have courses that people do at home, and also that are done in a group, because people want community. People are unmotivated to work out alone, and so we did this. And so now we have classes that are done with workout bands, so that we can still quantify the progress and the strength, and still work on those things like we talked about, the structural alignment of the spine, and all the good stuff that's going to pretty much give you your body back, actually.
Exactly. Whether it's gone, you have pain because of disuse, because you work at a desk for hours, which equals months, which equals years of our lives,
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
sitting in this posture, or if you have a very demanding career as a dancer or activity in sports and that sort of thing, wherever people are coming from. And that's really the power of it, is that ability that you have to connect with your clients and really provide those corrections and help them
Mm-hmm.
resolve those habits that we all pick up.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Terrific. And so ongoing, since this podcast will be up for a while, you tend to share master classes to help people learn about your work so they can try it out and see if a program could be a good fit for them.
Yes, absolutely. So that's part of the things that we did since the pandemic. We're putting classes together that people can come at a very low cost, sometimes $1, sometimes whatever. That we've been testing a lot of different models. But yes, you can come to the master class, and we have actually one coming up, and several coming up that were planned. So whenever that podcast airs, there will be one coming up, because of course, with the turn of the new year, we find that a lot of people are looking forward to say goodbye to 2020 and hello to 2021. And I think that health and wellness and feeling good and getting back into your body in a stronger, more powerful way is in people's consciousness. I think if 2021 will be a great year for that. So for sure, you're going to put a link, I would imagine, a link with a podcast. So
Yes.
come and join us on our next upcoming masterclass. This class is actually very powerful. It's a program that we're going to teach you, that is going to give you actually a routine that you can do at home with or without equipment. Because when the gyms closed, we had always worked out from the gym. We did not have even a dumbbell or anything at home. And all of a sudden, we are at home with nothing, and we still have to do something, right? So we found ways to use water bottles, cans, bricks from the yard, broomsticks, whatever we could find to start moving. And so that's what we're going to teach you in our masterclass. Is actually the very program that we did for ourselves and our clients, to keep them moving strong and not now having the inertia setting in front of a computer, like so we are actually teaching you that in that masterclass. So I would just really love to invite everybody to come and attend the masterclass, get a glimpse into our world of how you can get stronger, feeling better, more vibrant. And it doesn't have to be hard, like what people think of fitness. Oh, I'm going to be sweating, I'm going to have to jump up and down, I'm going to have to do it every day. I mean, people have this idea sometimes about fitness, that it's going to be hard and painful. Well, I got news for you. it doesn't have to be that way at all.
Hooray! With much rejoicing.
Yes.
That's terrific. So, yes, I'll definitely have the links in the show notes so people can come to your website, learn more about what you offer, and see if there's a masterclass coming up that they can register for. So they can check
Absolutely.
in and see if that's a good fit. And personally, in the work that I do, um, pain is just an epidemic. And our inability to treat it effectively with our standard, air quotes, standard healthcare model, people end up relying on prescription medication because no one's addressing the root issue. And so that's why I was just so excited to share this program that empowers people to recognize they have the tools to heal themselves. We just need to know how to use this instrument that is our bodies to maintain and like you say, to feel younger now than you have in years. I mean, how empowering is that? Age is really merely a number. It really all boils down to how you feel in your body and how your energy, maintains. And I've seen very powerful information coming in terms of how exercise can support people in resolving stress. Is that something that you see in your clients as well?
Absolutely. There's nothing better than exercise, especially when you can increase your physical strength and you can work out in such a powerful way. Now, we already know that if you take a good walk or a good hike or go walk on the beach or do whatever, you're going to produce endorphins. And that's like, right, that's the feel good hormone. But if you can increase, imagine this, if you can increase your strength by 20 to 50%, okay, in a way where your body is very grounded, feel it's safe and empowered. That produces massive amounts of endorphins to your brain. But not only this, because we work on postural alignment, what happens is you start clearing the neuromuscular pathways to the brain, which allows for the neurotransmitters, the neurochemicals to actually flow to the brain. It's instant feel good. And what it does is it also strengthens your nervous system. So a lot of times people think about the nervous system like a thing, right? But the nervous system is really responsible for the healing of your body, for your movements, the way you think, the way you feel, everything. And the nervous system, you can actually strengthen it physically. Now, usually when we think about that, we think about meditation or hugging a tree or things like that. But when you can increase your strength physically, in a way I'm describing, what also happens is you're strengthening your nervous system. Now, I like to compare the nervous system to the electrical panel in your house. Okay? When it's outdated and you plug in too many appliances, then you're going to blow a fuse. That's stress. All right? Now, if you want to fix the problem, then you need to update your electrical panel. And then, right, then you can have all your lights on and everything. Well, it's the same with the body. When you strengthen your nervous system, it's kind of like updating your electrical panel. And that is, to me, that's ultimate stress relief.
Yes, when suddenly you're so much more resilient, you can meet higher challenges, you bounce back faster, your mood is higher, your relationships are easier. When you handle stress more easily, it doesn't roll downhill to your personal relationships, which are so often bearing the brunt of our stressful lifestyles.
Absolutely. And you get stronger emotionally, and also you'll be able to make wiser decisions, to say no to things you know are not that good for you, to delegate, to create boundaries. So it's a whole other, sometimes we're just so caught up in everything that we yeah, we just get caught up. It's like um living unconsciously almost, right? Being in the head. So
Yes.
when you can make that brain muscle connection and find that center inside your body, then it's a life transforming thing that happens. You can really, it will change not only your body, your physique, because of course the icing on the cake is that you know, you have a more sculpted, more beautiful body, but this is just the icing on the cake. The benefits is really about that transformation, that life transformation that happens, where it affects everything in your life. You know, your relationships, your work, your productivity, your relationships with your kids, with your friends, everything. You'll make more money because you'll be more productive, wasting less time. Everything
Exactly.
changes.
It's all part of that balance. And I think a huge factor in that seems to be so fundamental in what you're both teaching is helping people tune back in and reconnect with what feels right in our body. We've gotten into these patterns. We're just completely disassociated. We turned, the mute button on rather than address the root of issues. And so once we start working back through those layers, the messages that suddenly you start receiving again, just like you say, that's so beautiful. Your boundaries are healthier. You're not saying yes to things that don't serve you because you recognize what serves you and what doesn't.
Hmm.
Those are
Absolutely. Yeah. Uh
tremendous
huh.
support.
Yeah. So that's what Stephen meant when he said, "Learn to say no." You, as a woman, you giving too much. You need to learn to receive, and it is so true because the female energy is the receiving, the being, the feeling. The male energy is the giving, the competing. You know, and as women, especially, we are in business. We have responsibilities. We have so many things to do. That's all male energy, and then we go to work out, and then we have to do more, we have to compete, we have to, so it compounds all that male energy. And really for us women, we need to actually step back and reclaim our feminine power, which is receiving, which is being. And you know, sometimes we just have to let go and just yeah, learn to just be
Yes.
and not do.
Create a little more space. Exactly. I love that too. Humans being instead of humans doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Beautiful. You've shared so much with us through our conversation already. Is there anything else you want to share before we wrap up our conversation for today?
Well, if your mind can conceive it and your heart can believe it, then Dr. Fitness International can help you to achieve it. So, yeah, you know what they say, like we started the interview like that. When the student is ready, the teacher appears oftentimes. So, if you are in pain, if you are looking to make a real shift in 2021, and not only, I find that when I address pain directly, people are not, it's kind of like it's hitting them in a blank spot, because they're not in pain 24 hours 7 or whatever. But when I talk to people, and I talk to a lot of people, so many people are in pain. But just, let's say, forget pain. What about if you could just be more empowered? What about if you could just feel better in your own body? What about if you could feel more sexy, more um, vibrant, younger? Let's say 10 years younger by the end of 2021. What about that? Then,
Exactly.
there is hope. And when you can do it alone, you have a choice to do it alone, or you have a choice to get some help. So if you don't have a mentor that can take you by the hand and lead you to the results that you desire and deserve in 2021, then I want to invite you to go to our website and to schedule a consultation, because we might have answers for you. And
Yes,
make sure to
beautiful.
attend our upcoming masterclass too.
Exactly. With some real takeaways, not just a session to throw out a little bit of information and teases and then say, but real applicable,
Oh
start
yes.
building your practice
Oh
and
yeah,
get some
definitely. When you come to
personalized
the
attention.
masterclass, you actually have a routine that you can just start using the next day.
Yeah.
Definitely. Hmm.
So powerful. Here's to creating our own future and empowering ourselves. I think it's tremendous. Thank you for the work that you both do and for making this available to people. I know it's been quite an undertaking, but it's going to be to the benefit of thousands of people. Just
Thank you
need
for
to
having me.
call them in. It has been a pleasure. Thank you, Batista. Take
Thank you.
care.
Thank you.